Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 63 of the 72 review. A couple of familiar faces in mine and Ian's, but we have recruited one of the reserves in Worko to replace Jake and Lee. So you've got to be good, mate, because you're feeling too
Well, hope so. Certainly hope so. But I've got my klaxon at the ready as well. So that's on the next page. Oh no! Have I actually got that? Oh no!
It wasn't ready.
Oh no!
Who's had a mare to begin with? While you're finding the klaxon, Ian.
I've got that one.
While you're finding your klaxon, Ian, let people know who you are, what you do, and why you do it, mate.
Hello, I'm Ian.
Is he with?
62-year-old Rotherham season ticket holder who should know a lot better. Well, when the Millers are away, rather than travel and suffer another away defeat, I'm around the country vlogging for Over the Bar YouTube channel.
And you had a tasty one this weekend that we will get onto later in the show for certain.
Oh yeah, very good one this weekend. Yeah.
Worko, you've been on the show before.
Yes.
Yes. It's not your first rodeo, as we'll say. But let people know, if they've not seen you, who you are and what you do and why you do it, mate.
Yes, I'm a former streamer on Twitch, but I've actually been sort of putting that to the wayside now, just because I've started getting jobs in voice acting and stuff.
Nice.
And I basically just enjoy making YouTube sort of content a lot more. So the other two lads that I'm on the Talking Wednesday podcast with also do their own Wednesday content, and I've thought, why the hell shouldn't I as well? So I've set up my own channel to do Wednesday stuff. And there you go. But obviously, I won't put the link in the description or anything if you don't want me to.
It's already there, mate.
Is it?
Yeah. Look at
bloody
that.
hell! Look at that! Look at that! How efficient! Oh, thank you, Dan. But yes, I'm actually going to be in a video game that comes out in about a month and a half's time as well. So that's quite fun. Fallout London.
Say, you've got a fantastic
there you
voice.
Go. Thank you.
You've got a very good voice for voice acting, so I can see why you are hired quite a lot. We've got Finley in the chat. Good evening, Finley. It's nice to see you once again. John said good evening, and Neil said evening, three amigos. 80 IDs there. To be fair, Worko, I think you suit a voice actor considering you look like Seth MacFarlane.
Oh, for God's sake! You won't believe how much I get this all the time, and it's I can't believe it. Can't believe it.
And MTSC is in the chat as well with hello. You want to stick around because Ian did go to the Mansfield game this weekend.
Yes.
But yeah, good stuff. So if you are new to this, we go through all three divisions. We have a chat about them. It's a little bit like chatting a pub, which is why I've got a brew dog. I don't know if you've tried this one yet. The Black Heart. It is very, very nice. But yeah, we go through each division. We have a chat. Obviously, Rotherham, Doncaster, and Sheffield Wednesday will be three of the focuses, but we'll also go through other teams as well. Get your comments in. It drives conversation, and we'll try and wrap it up in and around an hour. So I think the first place to start would be in the Championship. Go on, Ian.
First of all, I'd like to say to Hayley Clay, yes, I'll be there at 1:30 outside the club shop next Saturday.
Lovely stuff. Meeting Finley, that will be very, very nice. But yeah, I want to start with you, Ian, because obviously Rotherham had another tough week. Chef Wednesday and Donny have both won, so I think we'll start. You wanted to get them out of the way quickly, so let's do that. We'll start midweek. You're showing fight. You've got to enjoy that to a certain extent.
It's too late. I thought we put a pretty good performance, especially going forward. I mean, we took the lead, which is not like us. Tommy scored a reasonably decent goal early on, and then we just reverted to type for the rest of the first half and just let them in at will. Wes Burns, brilliant player, good right-hand midfield player. Stuck two decent goals away, and an ex-Miller, Kiefer Moore, with the second one, and we go in at the break 3-1 down. And I'm thinking at half time this could be 4, 5, 6, 7, but they could come out in the second half and showed a lot of fight. Doffin reduced the arrears with really what was a mistake by the Ipswich keeper and left him with a tap in. And then we, for the first time this season, got a penalty.
Oh my God.
Peter Kioso got brought down, and Cafu, who's been one of our more disappointing signings this season, a bit of a show pony, he Panenkas it. This is in the 3rd minute of injury time. We've got a point, brilliant, and then Ipswich score straight from the kickoff. So another defeat, another gallant defeat. I'm sick of hearing this gallant and the fought well. It's a defeat. It's another defeat.
I think we said last week, though, Ian, didn't we, that defeats are defeats, but you want to go down swinging. Because I think
I think we did on this occasion. I think we did.
Yeah, but you're not the only Rotherham fan that's kind of accepting the fact that relegation is almost a certainty. It's just not mathematically done yet.
I think the fan base have accepted it, but unfortunately, we get some of the Twitterati that's apportioning blame to the chairman, and without the chairman that we've got now, Tony Stewart, there wouldn't even be a Rotherham United. And a lot that sacked the board, the chairman's got to go. I can't see any Saudi billionaires or Hollywood A-listers on the horizon for Rotherham United. Can you?
No.
I mean, we operate, we break even. We don't operate at a loss. Some seasons we make a little bit of a profit. We're sustainable, and I'd like it to remain that way.
Yeah,
do you think
it's difficult, isn't it?
Really, when you see some of the chair throwing money around.
Yeah, I mean, as I can speak from experience on the Wednesday side of things, because the actual financial statistics of Wednesday came out, and it shows that for about 6 years there was like £60 million that the owner was taking out in loans, not in borrowings as it's called on the sheet, and the club never really saw him any of that, and it was operating on loss of tens of millions year upon year upon year, and it's terrifying because that's exactly what happened with several other clubs that ended up absolutely plummeting through the leagues, and it's not sustainable at all. I'd much rather be in Rotherham's position where it's breaking even and hoping that maybe one day there might be some spark of a like another. For example, with Rotherham, Ben Wiles, another a Ben Wiles example that comes through, loves the club, and he's good enough at championship level, etc. And it's just a shame that there's several clubs. Reading have even gone that way. West Brom are going that way. Loads of championship clubs are going that way, and it's shocking to see, really. Stoke, another one. And it's, I mean, QPR are still in the dirt, aren't they, from all that fiasco of a few years back, and there's still, I think, £10 million unpaid, like that they have to pay by law and all that stuff. They're still £10 million below what they need to actually pay to some governing body, and look at where they are in the table. It reflects. It sort of reflects the unsustainability on league position and everything, and it's just
it's a difficult line to kind of tread, though, isn't it? Because
exactly.
Rovers have been self-sustainable for years, and we've slowly gone down the league. So I think the balance is finding that sustainability, but then also reinvesting that money smartly and wisely. And I think that's probably where we've gone wrong. We've recruited poorly over a number of seasons, and this is why we find ourselves in the position that we're in.
Yeah.
But I think
Club Doncaster coming along.
Well, the thing is, I mean,
is it? Yeah. Is it really good for the club?
Challenges for Rotherham United.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the challenges for Rotherham United is not to drop through the leagues, because there needs to be a major restructuring of the playing budget next season, and if Liam Richardson doesn't get it right, there is a major possibility that the losing mentality might remain, and we might just drop, because the present squad is so poor. I would say that they would struggle to avoid going down from League One. That's how bad we are this season, and I mean really bad. Defensively, appalling. Because I've watched them all season. I mean, in games we've put up something of a fight, but we had just been found wanting so many times. And so many times we concede and the heads go down and we concede another straight away. It's just so soul destroying. So, in essence, I would like us to be a competitive League One side for 2 or 3 years before we assault on another promotion bid. Because in the past, we've gone up too quickly. We've gone down from the Championship and gone straight back up with the League One squad. So therefore, we struggle the season after. So I think it takes some time to build a cohesive team spirit, a cohesive way of playing that would actually work long term. A bit like Ipswich have done over a few years. They've assembled a squad in League One, right, over 2 to 3 years, and it's working now. Because they've been together for a long time, so they've without any question, So something like that, and something like what Luton did is, you've got players there at Luton that were with them when they were non-league.
Yeah,
you need a team of players that care enough about the badge, that care enough about the club. Instead of the mercenaries we seem to have got at New York Stadium at the moment, like your Daniel Ayalas, your Grant Halls, your Lee Peltiers, they've just come for one last payday.
Yeah, and that's what you need to get rid of, isn't it? And like I say, build a squad that's wanting to play and put everything in for Rotherham United. And unfortunately for you guys, that continued. It was a must-win game if you were going to stand any chance of turning it around. Went 1-0 up through Tom Eaves, and we were talking before we went live. You saw this at half time and expected a 2-1 defeat, and unfortunately that's what happened.
Eaves. So, well, to be quite honest, my view of Tom Eaves is they should pay him in carrots. He's that much of a donkey. But it just shows you how bad a season we've had that he's top scorer now.
Yeah.
He's an absolute joke of a centre forward. He is, but he's got 3 in 4 now in 4 games, so he must be doing something right. But we took the lead again. We created chances to make it 2-0, missed them. QPR recovered towards the end of the first half, and they came close a couple of times. Early in the second half, bad defending again. Let's Smith in, and he hits a shot from a narrow angle that Johansson should have done better with, but let it in. So therefore, the heads drop, and it's just a continuous one-way travel towards our goal, and eventually, the inevitable happened. It's a hopeful shot from distance. I don't know if it got a deflection again. But again, Johansson probably should have done better with it. With 2-1 down, game over. Once we go, 2-1 down, we sort of like 10 minutes to go. That's it, done. So yet another gallant defeat. I'm sick of hearing about them. And like I put on my banner, we're at home to Sheffield Wednesday this coming Saturday. God help us.
Yeah, you're not looking forward to that one, mate, are you? Because obviously Wednesday have turned a bit of a corner at the minute.
Not at all. I never look forward to Miller's Sheffield Wednesday games anyway, because there's a toxicity to it. I don't know why. Yeah. The 2 sets of fans hate each other. I mean, leave me out of all that, but I just don't like losing local derbies. And if and when we lose next Saturday, it will hurt. But it's going to happen.
I think that's the thing, though, Ian, that you've got to hold on to this week, especially. That form really doesn't mean anything when it comes to a local derby. It's who turns up on the day and wants it more. So I don't think really any sort of team talks required.
That's the problem. Getting out. Yeah.
So as you've seen, Jake's just put a comment in saying, have a good show. He's off back to bed for him. He's struggling today, not too well. So we wish him all the best. The same with Lee, around the grounds, who's normally on. He's burnt out a little bit.
Lee as well.
Yeah, burn the candle at both ends. And the content that they both produce is fantastic, but sometimes it does just get a little bit too much. So we wish both of those a speedy recovery. I also forgot to mention at the start of the show that everybody at the 72 review sends a condolences out to the friends and families of Stan Bowles, who passed away at the age of 75, and Chris Nichols, who passed away at 77 this week. Two players that I never watched. I don't think Worko will have ever seen. I think they were a bit before our time, but Ian, you were talking about them before we came live. You've seen both of them play. Tell us roughly what they were like and kind of compare them to a player that we may know.
Chris Nicholl was I believe, yeah. Chris Nicholl were a little sort of like a Rio Ferdinand type centre half. He headed everything that were put across. He played over 100 games for Villa and captained them to a League Cup triumph in the 70s. And he also played over 200 games for Southampton when Southampton were in the Dell days, when they were in the top division. So, yeah, he was a very accomplished centre-back. Stan Bowles were a little bit like a Chris Waddle type character. He was he wasn't a winger, he was an inside forward like number 10 sort of player. But he was very skillful, England international, a joy to watch at times, and a QPR legend. Like I say, everyone at the 72 review sends our condolences out to the friends and families of both of those two ex-players. I think we'll stick with Championship. So moving on to a huge game for Sheffield Wednesday, Worko. One result that probably wasn't expected. Accumulator killer. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Bristol City 1. Take it away.
I was absolutely over the moon at this result because, well, I mean, in the longer term, it's every game for us is just a must win. We've got to keep up with the two or three teams that are above us, and this win was absolutely massive. If you see on the stats, it was quite an evenly split game. It was quite an entertaining game for the neutral. If you were at all able to watch it or listen to it on the radio or whatever, it was quite an entertaining game. Lots of passes, lots of shots on. And it also highlights the problem of the season for Wednesday as well, not just the shoddy, slow defending, which I could speak all night about, but 15 shots and 7 on target, and we only score 2 of them. Now, it's been the story of the season where effectively we've had strikers all season that couldn't hit a barn door with a howitzer, but exactly. Plumbing out. Up steps Ike Ugbo, who, as well, Cardiff fans were saying to a lot of us Wednesday fans all over social media, I don't think he's any good, He couldn't even... all he does is score goals. Yes, that's exactly what we want. We haven't got strikers that can score goals in the Championship. They're all bloody League One goal machines or whatever. So, up he steps, and now he scored 5 in 4, actually. There is, for stat fans, whatever. 5 goals in 4 games. And fantastic, 2 absolutely fantastic goals. The first one came out of absolutely nothing, where he takes a deft touch and then swivels around and puts it in the bottom left corner. And then the second one was a fantastic cross by Marvin Johnson, and he just gets his head. Oh yeah, absolutely clinical. Just sticks his head in the path, just in the right path, with a deft little glance, and it goes into the net just before half time. But of course, naturally, we can't have a clean sheet. No, that'd be too good. That'd be too easy. But Jason Knight with a fantastic goal, former Derby player. And I must highlight Deshaun Bernard's stupidity in the 78th minute. Now, this man needs to learn some goddamn discipline. Every single game at the minute, he's doing something so incredibly stupid. He's dragging a player down really close to the penalty area, or he's... running and shoulder barging a player in the face in the case of the Coventry fixture recently, and now he just decides to hack someone down when he's already on a yellow card. He just hacks someone down as they're through on goal. And I just think, thank God that Michael Iwekwe, klaxon noise here, that Michael Iwekwe got back in time, because had he not been, that would have been a straight red, and it would have been just more than 1 match suspension. And it was, I could rant and rant and rant about how stupid this man has been with his decision making recently. But anyway, on the brighter note, 3 points in the bag. We're now effectively in with a chance of the Great Escape. I don't want to get my hopes up too much because it's the hope that kills you, as we all know.
It is indeed.
But we're in with a good chance, I would say. We're keeping pace, but pretty much every game's a must-win game for us now. But yes, it was a very entertaining fixture. Sorry but that I didn't give a cohesive line of thought with that game. It was just as it came to my head from my memory, really.
That was good.
Thank you.
I think I answered Joseph's question. Do you think Wednesday will stay at work? He thinks that you will.
I think we'll stay up by like 1 point or something really, really fine like that.
Sign caution at the minute.
Exactly. Yes, but I'm just.
The thing is, any team that were 4-0 down after the first leg of a playoff semi-final and get promoted have got the gods on their side. So I think Wednesday will stay up.
Yeah. I've said all season I'll be happy
also,
with 21st
somebody
place.
mentioned in the chat earlier on, and I think, oh God, yeah, that's what we all aim for. Yeah. Somebody mentioned in the chat earlier on, how come Elias Chair gets convicted and jailed for a year, and yet he was on the pitch yesterday at QPR Rotherham?
It's
somebody explain that. He was supposed to be going to jail.
Neil replied to that one. I've just seen it. It was ATID saying that Stoke have capitulated. We will be there. Also, how can Chair be in prison and at Loftus Road at the same time? You can't. And Neil said he's appealing his prison sentence, so he's allowed to play in the meantime. So, depending on how that appeal goes, that's when he'll go to prison or continue to play football. If that's fair, I don't know.
But he's been found guilty. He's been sentenced and found guilty. How is he allowed to appeal it? I don't get it. I don't.
Surely his appeal should be while he's sat in prison.
But exactly. But
you appeal your sentence when you're actually in prison, don't you?
Exactly. Yeah. It's just, for lack of a better term, it's criminal. But
it is indeed.
And of course, I'm only saying that as a Wednesday fan who are trying to catch them up. But,
anyway.
Yeah.
Neil's saying it took place in Belgium, so I don't know if that has an impact on what's going on with it all or not.
It did, yeah.
I don't know. ATID asked that question, so I think we'll go with Plymouth.
Their judicial system might be different to ours.
Yeah.
So ATID has put a bit of chat in about Argyle. So Argyle-wise, West Brom, I genuinely want Foster sacked after the worst game I've seen. Left on the 61st minute when we went 1-0 down, as I knew we didn't stand a chance. So this is, they got beat 3-0 midweek against West Brom. I think it was 3-0.
It's a long way to go. I can understand that, leaving it as early as that. It's a long... Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday, though, he thought he was watching Prime Barcelona with MSN up top. Absolutely stunning performance. Should have been at least 8-0 at half-time. Foster rightfully got absolutely pelted for his poor comments in the post-match and the performances themselves. But yesterday was the best I've seen us play since Port Vale away last season. So, yeah, Plymouth are just a bit hit and miss at the minute, aren't they? They have games where they're on fire and you think they're going to survive easily, not get dragged into it, and then they have games where you think they could well get dragged into it by going on a poor run of form. But to go all the way up to Middlesbrough and win 2-0, it's no mean feat, is it? And the stats there as well: 22 shots, 11 on target. They've kept Middlesbrough to 11 shots with none on target. They've used their 31% possession very, very well there. Allowed Middlesbrough to have the ball, pass the air out of it, and then they've just absolutely obliterated them.
I've said all season, even when ATID has been at his worst, when ATID has been at his most down, I've always said they've got more than enough to survive Argyle. They'll survive comfortably.
Yeah. Mr. C's come in a little bit late. We have gone through the Ipswich Rotherham game at the very beginning, but he said, evening, I might be a bit late, but Rotherham played on the front foot at Ipswich and were the better team by quite a way. Worst Ipswich performance I've seen at home this season. So positive words for Rotherham there, Ian. No, it doesn't. don't really comfort you at this point of the season, I'm afraid.
It was about slow. It was about as slow giving that opinion in the chat as Rotherham's defence have been all season. So it fits, you know.
You'll not be invited back, Worko. Big careful.
I'm only saying it tongue in cheek. I'm not meaning any venom, you know. But I also will add as well MSN up front for Plymouth. I mean, bloody hell. I didn't realise they were that behind in terms of internet. The Gmail's not even made it down there. Can't believe it.
Madness.
Just trying to
is there any
lift
other
the spirit,
championship games that you guys want to touch upon from this weekend? Start with Ian.
Yeah, Millwall. What a result that were at Southampton. That were a real Cooten buster, that. And my God, Millwall needed that because they've been dropping like a stone. I mean, I think it was Jake that said on last week's show or the week before's when Wednesday won 2-0 there, that how bad Millwall looked. But that is a good turnaround, and to win away at Southampton is absolutely superb.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Southampton now, because of the recent defeats, I think they can forget about automatic promotion. I think they'll have to take
I'd agree.
their chances in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're needing a couple of
because it doesn't look like Leeds are going away, does it? It doesn't look like Leeds are going away.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
Leeds,
it's interesting that they got that victory as well.
9 on the bounce, haven't they?
Something like that, yeah.
It's interesting that Millwall actually got that victory because they only had 19% possession as well. So and they've somehow now managed to nick the win.
Wow.
19. Imagine that. You're getting under the cosh for all that amount of time and then,
MTFC
how angry must Southampton feel?
Neil Harris score,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
HID's
for Cambridge as well.
HID's asked about talking about Leeds versus Leicester. I think, Ian, you started talking about the fact that Leeds are just unbeaten in 9, I think it is. 9 wins on the bounce now. And
9 straight wins, apparently. And they've done the double over Leicester because they were at the King Power earlier this season.
Do you think this result, though, could turn the tide and potentially help Leeds catch Leicester up, or have Leicester done enough to kind of have a big enough gap to secure that championship?
I don't know. They've lost 2 on the bounce now.
Yeah, bit of a wobble.
Leicester's lost 2 on the bounce now. I still think 6 points is a lot to make up on the same number of games, but I think it's still Leicester's to lose the title.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a hell of a scrap for second, and it looks like it's a 2-horse race between Ipswich and Leeds. I mean, Ipswich had that little wobble a few weeks ago, but they've come back well. And to be honest, I mean, I think McKenna ought to have the Championship's manager as the season because they do play some fantastic football with Ipswich. I mean, they're probably not as solid defensively as 1 or 2 more teams in the Championship, but going forward, they're exceptional.
Some of those are different.
I still think it'll be the top 2 as it stands now that will get automatic promotion. But I think Ipswich will run Leeds close. But 9 wins on the bounce, you can't argue with that. No, if they carry on in this form, they're going to get promoted again.
Yeah. Worko, would you agree with that?
I would probably agree. I do think that Ipswich will, like Ian said, is going to run them right to the wire with it, so to speak. And I actually, just simply because it wouldn't mean that one of the constant Premier League yo-yo teams would get back up again, I'm sort of rooting for Ipswich, especially with how well they did last year as well. There's that underdog in me that just is like, I just really want to see some sort of long absence from the Premier League team kind of do it again. And but I would agree. I think Leicester's got it in the bag, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see who ends up in second place. That's for sure.
Yeah, and like you say with Ipswich, it's a bit like the Luton story last season. I think people were rooting for Luton because it was a new club going into the Premier League, or one that's not been in there for a long time in Ipswich's case. So I'm on the same side as you with that one.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. So we will have a quick look at the table. Rotherham still prop the table up. Sorry about this, Ian. We'll flick through this fairly quickly. Sheffield Wednesday giving
That's
yourselves
fine.
a great chance
Fine.
of.
It's like bashing your head
escaping
against a brick wall. After a while, it starts not to hurt anymore.
At least you can find a bit of humour in the situation, mate. And I'm hoping that it's going to be a better season, a more positive season for you to watch next season. But yeah, it looks like the writing's on the wall, this one, doesn't it? But yeah, Sheffield Wednesday giving yourselves a really good opportunity of the Great Escape. Stoke looking in trouble. QPR, decent bit of form over the last 5. But Millwall as well. Without that win yesterday, they looked in trouble. A great win for Huddersfield yesterday. I don't think we touched on them. The 2-1 win at Watford, which has pulled them away, but it's very tight down there. I think it's probably up to Birmingham, maybe. Could easily get dragged into it over the next couple of weeks. Up to the top of the table, we've already spoke about Leicester and Leeds, thinking that they're the 2 that are going to go up, and the fight for second is probably down to Ipswich, Southampton. Bit of poor form in their last 5. They're going to need people above them, teams above them, to slip up for them to get back into it. And then there's a big gap between them, and West Brom and Hull City make up the final 2 places of the playoffs. So yeah, plenty. Not what is there? 12 games left. Yeah, 12 games left. It's going to be an interesting end to the season.
Yeah,
absolutely. There's only 7 points between us and 14th place. I think it was 14th place. Yeah, it's crazy. It's so tight. Between 23rd and no, 16th. 16th. I meant to say 16th. Yeah, it's so tight at the bottom. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm
so glad that it's a bit of an entertaining season this time and not, nailed on every single team in the position like it was a few years ago.
Yeah, and that's why we enjoy football so much. I mean, when we come up to League 2, we'll see how tight that division is, and there's just always twists and turns, which is great to see. Okay, moving on to League 1, we've got Around the Grounds. Good evening, gents. Hope you're all very well. Just bobbing to say hello. So yeah, great to see you, Lee. I hope you're feeling better. And Worko's really proud in your position at the minute. Apart from he forgot his klaxon.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Sorry about that one. I'll just make it with my mouth instead. There we go. Or something. I don't know.
Okay, I think the best place to start. Sue Imp has just come in the chat in League 1. We always say Cod's Vlogs Nappers point you in his direction. He's a great content creator. He does a League 1 deep dive. There's nobody I know of who has got the level of knowledge of that division than Ben. So his live stream starts at 8. If you enjoy this sort of stuff, head over there at 8 o'clock and get a bit of a deeper dive into League 1. But yeah, Sue, where's she gone? Sue, where are you? There you are.
There you are.
Lincoln, 8 unbeaten, winning ugly. Could we, if those above us falter and we continue? So, Worko.
Yes.
You mentioned Port Vale before we came live. So
I did, for the Darren Moore connection.
There's somebody at the helm who you know well.
Yes. Darren Moore's first home game in charge for Port Vale. And he's previously had 2 games, and sadly both of those were losses for him. Port Vale actually came into this game with 5 wins from 15. So it wasn't looking good to begin with. No. And the first goal came from an absolute woeful. I couldn't believe when I watched it. I couldn't believe what I'd seen. It was like a quickly taken free kick, and he's passed to the centre half alongside him. The goalkeeper's decided, oh yeah, I'll just come out and just come and have a chat with you, mate. Yeah, absolutely. So there's a wide open goal. This pass gets intercepted by the Lincoln striker, who then just buries it from just outside the box, and everyone's just looking at each other with their heads in their hands. And what the hell? Oh, I couldn't. It was like watching us when we last went down from the championship. It was the same sort of crap. So that happened. And then suddenly Port Vale just decided to go on top in possession for the majority of the game. And then later on, in the 90... Well, you can see there, the 90 plus 3 minute mark, there's a stonewall penalty. I don't know what the hell he was thinking it was literally like a rugby tackle with dragging of the shirt and everything. Yeah. It was absolutely shambolic. I couldn't believe when you're that close to the end, you do something daft like that. But he buries the penalty, and then it's 2-0 to Lincoln. But Port Vale did have a lot of chances, some of which you could argue were kept out by an absolute godly performance by the Lincoln goalkeeper. And it's for Port Vale, in the Port Vale point of view, it's looking like Darren Moore was the right appointment. Now, Port Vale have also said they want to build a bit of a project, and that's why they've given Darren Moore a 5-year, I think it's like, is it 5.5-year contract, something like that?
I think,
and that's why they've given him such a
5 years, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's why they've given him such a long contract, and why it was daft to compare it to when he was at Huddersfield, because Darren Moore's very well known to be a project manager, like a longer term, build something, build a culture, all that sort of thing at a club. And obviously Huddersfield have hired him probably off the back of all the PR that he got for the Peterborough comeback. And from day one there, he was saying he was a project manager. He wants to build something with Huddersfield. He wants to build a culture, all that sort of thing. And then when understandably, it doesn't start off very well because of the fact that he's not got his own players in and they've not adapted to his system. And it was a project. He knew what he was walking into. But then the owner of Huddersfield decided he's not doing the same sort of job that Neil Warnock would do, or that Tony Pulis would do, or that Neil Harris would do, and do a firefighter's job. So I'll sack him. What was he expecting when he hired a manager that's known for building projects over a long period of time? What was he expecting? Was he expecting but yeah, Port Vale are doing this right in the long term with Darren Moore, because he definitely wants to build something, and it's yes, but unfortunately, it's not starting out very well for him. 3 losses from 3 games.
Agrees with you.
Yes.
She says that the goal is Lucas.
Yes.
Glad we played Port Vale early. Darren is the right man for the job, and I think I echo what you say, Worko. I think he is a manager that needs time. Needs to bring his own squad in, and like you say, he will build a culture there. If they're expecting quick results and a turnaround and that new manager bounce, he isn't the man for the job. But if they
ironically, we've done something similar with Liam Richardson.
Yeah.
Liam Richardson got a 2.5-year contract. Like the rest of this season, okay, we're going to take a fall. But if he's got time over the next 2 seasons to build something sustainable, it's been a good appointment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
and ironically, at Huddersfield, the 2 players that Darren Moore did manage to bring in are the ones that are performing the best for them. Shock horror. Anyway, who would have thought? Yeah. Who would have thought?
Barnes, the Red and White Army, is in the chat. He says Derby getting battered everywhere they go. A fantastic result for them. Adam Phillips with the double. Sonny Bradley got Derby started.
It's put them right back in the mix, this, hasn't it?
Yeah, fantastic result, and it's put them in the mix for the top 2, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, I would say so, yes. Definitely.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean,
they've got the game in hand over Derby.
They're consistent to Barnsley. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're consistent to Barnsley. They're a very, very good League One side. I'm not surprised by this result at all, because I thought it was probably one of the hardest games Derby had got left, and as it proved to be the case. Yeah. Barnsley are very formidable. Very, very formidable side. Yeah. And also they've got the infrastructure to thrive in the Championship. So yeah, they've got the fan base and everything.
I'd agree with that.
I think they'll do well if they go up.
Yeah. MTFC has mentioned Peterborough's fall off. If we look at the table, they were in and around it for a long period of time, weren't they? And they've dropped down to 5th and pretty much out of the running for top 2 at the minute, I'd say. But a decent result for them away from home against Cambridge.
Oh yeah.
We mentioned, was it last week or the week before that we mentioned
local derby, that
the fallout with Clark Harris, and that could be the kind of catalyst to why Peterborough have struggled a little bit. It was last week or the week before, but it seems like just something's not quite right on and off the pitch at Peterborough. It's just not quite cohesive, and that's ended up kind of filtering into their results over the last 5. I mean, that's the first win in the last 5 that I can see. 4 defeats on the bounce before then. So yeah, maybe the off-field problems are just kind of spilling onto the field at the minute at Peterborough.
I do remember. I mean, obviously it's a while ago now, but in the playoff 2 semi-final games, they obviously were the 4-0 up in the first leg, and then in the second leg, they just seemed to. Sheffield Wednesday obviously scored the first goal from the penalty, and even then, the Peterborough side just seemed to like mentally capitulate.
Yeah,
they were over time, even like regardless of the fact that we ended up scoring the goals to come back and everything, they just over the game seemed to just be losing their mental focus on, and I wonder if that's carried on into this season as well. I just wonder if that's got a lot to do with it, as well as the off-field falling out with Clark Harris. You've got it's just
beating themselves.
Exactly, beating themselves by just not keeping switched on in games and headbutting the microphone. Good start.
But like I say, 8:00, head over to Cod's Vlogs and he'll go into a deeper dive more across League One. We do recommend watching that. It's a decent watch. The table though, Carlisle, horrible form at the minute. They're looking like an immediate return to League Two. Currently playing for Pride.
Nearly as bad as us.
Yeah, almost. Fleetwood, Port Vale, and possibly Cheltenham could be the teams to follow them into League Two. Charlton and Shrewsbury, Burton and Cambridge, and Reading and Wickham not out of it yet. There's it's very tight at the bottom of League One as well. Exeter,
Cheltenham a bit of form.
Yeah, it's got them back in the mix.
Cheltenham a bit of form. If I were Charlton Athletic, I'd be worried, very worried.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of games in hand over Charlton as well, so they may come into play towards the end of the season. Pompey, we've questioned their ability to continue the form all season. We've always said that it comes to Christmas and the kind of a half a season team. They've done it so often. We expected it again this season, but they look to have put that behind them, and they're on the way to the Championship by the looks of this. Obviously, it needs something big for them to drop off and fall out of the top two, in my opinion. But there's a decent fight on for the second automatic spot with Derby, Bolton, Barnsley in the mix for that. Peterborough and Oxford make up the playoffs. But even with those, you've got Stevenage and Blackpool and Leyton Orient with an outside chance of getting into them.
I mean, just personally, because I've got a lot of Derby fans that are my friends. I'd slightly love to see Derby fall out of the automatic places, just so that I can laugh at my friends.
Just to quieten them down a little.
Yeah, exactly. They've started chirping up a lot, especially because Wednesday are in the relegation spots in the Championship as well, and it just would be nice just to get something back on them. I don't know, but
it's funny how
very
that
tight
happens,
at the top
when one team's doing poorly and your mate's team's doing well.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Moving on to League Two, so we're going to start at your gallivanting. Ian, you went to Mansfield this weekend, and you must have had around the grounds look, because he's had some goals to watch in recent weeks, and you had some to watch as well.
Well, initially I should have gone to Mansfield a few weeks ago, but the game got called off in the morning and I went to Notts County instead. I saw the 9-2 against Harrogate and I thought, I wonder if I'm going to get some goals when I go to Field Mill, and I weren't disappointed. I really enjoyed it. I was in the, I think it's the North Stand, which is the away end normally. But because Salford didn't bring a lot of fans, they let home fans in. And I was in there, I had a really good view. The fans were absolutely bouncing. I mean, I've got to take my hat off to the Mansfield fans. They were noisy and they were persistent, even when it went to 1-1. It was just a brilliant day. Mansfield took the lead pretty early on, a decent header from across from the right. That 1-0, they'd missed a couple of chances before that. And they looked to steamroller Salford, but Salford did come back into it. And I think it's Mwamba, the winger, he scored a brilliant goal. He took the ball round about the halfway line and ran at the Mansfield defence, beat a couple of players and stuck it in the corner. 1-1. There was a couple of long stoppages, so there were 10 minutes added time at the end of the first half. And in the 8th minute, Bailey Cargill stuck one away from a corner at the back post, and so Mansfield went in 2-1 up. Now, unfortunately for Salford, Mwamba, who'd been Salford's main attacking threat, had to go off injured at half time. So they replaced him, and there were nothing of an attacking force in the second half. Mansfield just came going at them. Aikens scored with it was a ball over the top that he run onto, and he stuck it away very well. Keeler Dunn scored a really decent goal set up for him. And then Boateng, who came on a sub with not long left, got in on the act in I think it was the 98th minute or 97th minute. Yeah. But really and truly, Mansfield, it could have been another 9 easily. It could have been another 9 because they missed as many chances as they scored. They just look awesome going forward. Mansfield, when they click, they really click. And it's the best performance. I mean, I've seen a lot of League Two football this season. That's the best performance I've seen in a League Two side. But you've said it yourself, Dan, haven't you?
Yeah, Neil
Mansfield,
agrees.
They're probably the best side to come to the Eco.
Yeah, by far. I thought we matched them at their place, but it was poor weather, poor pitch. That was a bit of a leveler for both teams. I think it was just after Christmas, maybe just before New Year, I think it was. But yeah, when they came to our place, they just
did
looked
you get
incredible.
A result there?
1-1, I think, off at the top of my head. We got a point. Neil agrees. Right. He says that best side that they played in the division this season. Just so good, very very good team. Yeah. And we were saying.
By the way, my over the bar YouTube video is on YouTube now from Mansfield yesterday. So get ahead and watch it, because I think if you're a Mansfield fan, you'll enjoy it a bit.
Yeah. There you go. Link to Over the Bar is in the description down below. But yeah, they're a fantastic team. And I think Joseph's asked, is this a season that Mansfield get promoted? I think it is. They're far too good for this, I think.
I can't see them not getting promoted. They've got all the all the places. They've got the experience of Stephen Quinn and Aidan Flint. They've got Jordan Bowery, because he's a very experienced player as well. They've got the youth of Keeler Dunn and Swan. Yeah. And they've just got every base covered. Yeah. I can't see them not going up.
No. I mean, we were saying before we went live that this has been a squad a little bit like Ipswich was in League One. It's been getting kind of assembled over a number of seasons, and they're just really well drilled, well organised. They know what they're doing, and it's reaping its rewards now. And all of the times of getting so close and just missing out, I think that's behind them. I think this is a season that they'll go up.
I think so too.
I think we said that on the pre-season review, didn't we? That this is the season that Mansfield will make it.
Yeah. Jonathan's in the chat showing workhorse and love. We do like that.
Oh, every time I've always waved, and then I've realised that the chat thing covers me up, so I'll wave now. Hi, Jonathan.
Put it back up.
I'll just put it quick.
MTFC says that they've scored the most, conceded the least, best away form and 5th best home form. Also scored 14 in the last 2 home games this season.
14 in 2 home games.
Yeah, that's promotion stats, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
With Jonathan being in, I think we'll go to MK Dons before we go to Donny. Cracking result for them. 3-0. Starting to click for them, isn't it? Obviously, changed manager. Jonathan, if you're still in, pop it in the chat. Let us know your thoughts on this game. But statistically, 20 shots, 8 on target, 66% of the possession. It's total domination, isn't it? Looking at that. And that has moved them up. The remaining 5th, but it has opened the gap with Barrow not playing to 5 points there. So a little bit of a cushion between them. Obviously, 7th is the final playoff place. So they are, 9 points away from dropping out of the playoffs. So they look really well positioned and
Looking
not a
good.
million miles away from third as well. Got to say that. So, yeah, it's potentially automatic promotion is on for MK Dons with a very good 3-0 victory against an informed Newport. I think they've been playing particularly well over the last couple of weeks. I think they were up there in the form table, so a very, very good result there. Moving on to Donny. So we are 5 unbeaten. I'm glad I'm sat down when I've said that, because I cannot remember the last time Doncaster went 5 unbeaten. On this game in particular, though, I think it wasn't the most entertaining encounter, in my opinion. I think it would have been if Hakeeb had stayed on the pitch. So 3 minutes in, a really good bit of play down the left-hand side, managed to get Hakeeb Adelaken in, and it was a first-time shot. He's just slotted it past the keeper. I'm really surprised that Lincoln have not found a place within their squad for him, because he's far too good for League Two. And from minute 1 to minute 33, I think it was, or minute 30. Let me find it. Minute 28, he absolutely ripped Wimbledon to pieces, but then Ogundere decided to take it upon himself to clatter Adelaken, and it slowed him down. It certainly did slow him down. It gave him a dead leg. He was limping around. Oof. From there, we kind of lost any sort of attacking threat for quite a long time. Adelaken came off on around the 60th minute, and I'd say we were the better team in the first half. Wimbledon probably edged the second, but we never looked threatened. We never looked under pressure, which is strange for me to say, because normally defensively we've always looked like we're going to concede. So to get a clean sheet and another win, and continue to remain 13 points away from the bottom two, I couldn't be happier. I'd have taken a draw before a ball was kicked. So yeah, to take all 3 points, I'm very, very happy. We've got some tough games coming up, so I think getting that 13-point gap between us and the bottom two is massive. And I think the Sutton draw really changed our season. I think if we lose that game, we're staring down the barrel and possibly don't go on this positive run. Whereas now it just seems to be clicking a little bit, and it's funny how little moments like that can really change a season. And like I said last week, we're only 12 points away from playoffs. Who knows? There's a hell of a lot of traffic between us.
That's hyper optimism.
Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah.
Okay, I will have a quick look at the chat.
I will say I don't think Doncaster's in any sort of risk of going down now. I will say that. I think it's another year of safety, stability, with Club Doncaster that you can't really fund a football club properly with, but hey ho, they're giving it the best shot anyway.
We're trying.
It doesn't really work that way when it's a professional football team in the EFL. No, it's not really like a
Jonathan said it was a very good performance for MK. Batting Newport, who never really got going. Should have been a 9-point week if the officials were half awake. Next 5 are huge. Yeah, they had a goal disallowed at Wrexham, didn't they?
That's how it goes, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And Neil's asked our thoughts on calling Barrow and Bradford game off at 2 p.m, even though Barrow insisted it was playable, and only 2% of the pitch was not the best. I think it's a poor decision. I really do. To leave it so late as well.
I think I read as well that Barrow did like a really tongue-in-cheek thing by they sent all of their players to train on the pitch.
Yeah, they did
in front of all the officials' eyes, just to sort of say, yeah, screw you. This pitch is fine. If we can train on it, we can bloody well play on it. And so I did like that.
Poor decision, very poor decision. Worko, is there any League Two games that you want to touch on before we look at the table and start to round off this episode?
I wouldn't say so. I think we've summed up League Two quite well, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but, if there's
nice and quick today in League Two. Ian, is there any other League Two games that you want to touch on, mate?
I'd just like to touch on Crewe's away form.
Go for
because Notts are going backwards, and wow, that's another fantastic away win for Crewe. I mean, I know Jonathan would like to think that MK can get top 3, but the current top 3, Mansfield, Stockport and Crewe, just look too strong for anybody to catch them up. But you don't know, football's a funny game, but that's a fantastic result for Crewe. And I mean, it's one of a number of. I mean, the one at Stockport recently, and so I mean, they seem to be more efficient away from home than at home, but they've got a decent home record, and they're good to watch as well. Good side.
Yeah, I remember at the start of the season we were kind of a bit tongue in cheek about the constantly going 2-0 down and securing points and things. It just shows, doesn't it, that there was clearly something there. They had that fight, that determination to earn points from nothing, and that fight and determination has continued. They've got a bit more solid at the back, and they're flying now, aren't they? Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
That's a fantastic result. Although not since they lost Williams to Swansea, they've gone backwards, haven't they? I mean, they're in no sort of form at all. But the 13th
smack bang mid-table now.
Yeah.
How the mighty fall.
Yeah, I thought they'd have been up there towards the back end of the season. There's still a lot of football to play.
Say they came up from the National League, it's still a decent first season. Still a very decent first season. But they were top of the league in about November, October, November time, weren't they? Not.
And considering last year how they basically were equal in quality, I believe, to Wrexham as well, who were like so many nine places above them now, equal in quality, and yet that's happened to Notts, and odd, very odd.
It's mad how much.
Yeah, well, Langstaff stopped scoring, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking at the bottom of the table, Sutton and Forest Green, I believe both of those have given themselves too much to do. But if I was a Grimsby fan or a Colchester fan, I would be looking over my shoulder nervously. I'm still erring on the side of caution with Donny. All it takes is 3 or 4 defeats again, and one of these teams to put a run together, and then we're looking over a shoulder again. But 5 unbeaten, like I say, I can't be happier than seeing that with a form team in the division at the minute, I believe.
Yeah.
Apart from Crewe.
Excellent.
Equal with Crewe, which is not bad company, to be fair. We'll take that. Moving towards the top of the table, it's incredibly tight. We look at the 7th place, 51 points. You can go all the way down to really Newport in 16th on 46, who are in with a shout of getting into the playoffs. There's a lot of traffic, though, as I keep on saying. There's lots of teams in there that you're needing to lose or draw. So, yeah, it's going to be an entertaining.
There's a massive gap between 7th and 8th, though, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
2 points.
Yeah.
Oh,
2
sorry,
points.
I've read it wrong. It's 51 and yeah. Sorry, I thought it's my glasses. I thought it said 61. Sorry, no. It's
to be fair, Ian, 2 points in League Two is a pretty big gap at the minute.
Yeah. I do find it quite insane how a team in 16th has a very good chance of getting into the playoffs, which is 10 games to go. Which is 10 league slots.
But
league
League 2's been insane this season.
Crazy. Yeah.
Very entertaining division.
League 2 has been crazy this season. Yeah.
Could Mansfield win the title? I think there's potential there. They've got a game in hand over Stockport. Stockport, it's a little bit of a bump at the minute. Mansfield looking incredible, home and away. So I think they've
only lost 4 games all season.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? Stockport and Crewe doing their bit to make up the automatic spots as well. Wrexham, MK Dons, Barrow and Gillingham currently make up the playoffs, but that picture certainly will change. And that brings us to the end of the show. We've got predictions to do, and then we will round off. So let's get these up. A decent week generally in the predictions this week. I think Mark Holden, you were the best performer with 8 points. Lee got 6. Ian, you got 4. So the table pretty much stays the same, apart from the middle bit where people are still swapping and changing, but the table is relatively settled. So this week's predictions, get them in the comments, or if you're watching throughout the week, pop a comment in and I will update the table for next Sunday. Big Yorkshire derby and Rotherham versus Sheffield Wednesday. What are you going?
Like I said at the start of the show, I'll give you my prediction to this. I think it's Rotherham 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2.
I've gone 2-1 Wednesday. Shrewsbury Blackpool in League One.
Well, Paul Hurst has had a good start with Shrewsbury, really. A good win at Reading yesterday. So I'm going for Shrewsbury this 2-1.
Oh, I've gone the other way. I thought Blackpool's 4-1 win over Bolton could give them the boost for next week. I have gone 2-0 to Blackpool. Wimbledon, MK Dons. That's a tasty encounter as well, isn't it?
Yeah, this the tastiest encounter, isn't it, really? Wimbledon, they've lost form a little bit lately. I think MK might turn them over 1-0.
From what I saw from Wimbledon yesterday, wasn't that impressed. So I'm going 3-0 MK Dons, which will be a damaging defeat for Wimbledon on their home patch. And the final game this weekend would be Walsall versus Donny.
Well, Donny will be competitive, but Walsall are a little bit on form at the moment, so I'm going 2-0 Walsall.
I've gone 2-1 Walsall. I agree with your comments there on that one, Ian. I think Walsall are in decent form. We're not too bad ourselves, but I just think this unbeaten run can't last forever, can it? And 5 games unbeaten for Donny is pretty much forever. So, I've gone 2-1 to Walsall. Worko.
I was gonna say. I know I'm doomed to relegation from the prediction league, but sorry, Ian. But I've gone with 3-0 to Sheffield Wednesday. Not biased in any way, of course. Just because of EK Ugbo's form. I would say Blackpool 2-2 with Shrewsbury Blackpool 2-2.
Yep.
MK Dons. I'm going 3-0. As well, win for MK Dons 3-0. You're welcome, Jonathan. And you know what? I'm going to say 2-1 to Doncaster Rovers as well.
Oh, cheers, Worko.
Yes,
that's why you're third bottom.
I'm about as reliable as a £5 Mystic Meg on some dodgy internet site. Yeah,
your allegiances were shown there with Jonathan,
of course.
Himself, and
of course,
Ian off because obviously Wednesday are playing them,
and we've got some pacey forwards, and Rotherham haven't got very pacey defenders. So just objective. It was very objective. Okay, there was no malice intended.
Most of our back four are pensioners.
So that brings us to the end of episode 63. Get your comments and predictions in the comments. That's what I meant to say. Get your predictions in the comments, and I'll update the table for next week. Any final words before we round off? I will start with Ian.
Good therapy session again. I enjoyed Mansfield yesterday, and just support your clubs.
Indeed. Worko, any final words?
I just make sure that you look after your mental health, because that is just as important as any day-to-day activity. Make sure you talk to people if you're not feeling okay, especially if your football team loses, because I know that's escapism for a lot of people on a Saturday. And just keep looking after yourselves, because the good news is that the sun is no longer setting before 5 p.m. and it won't do that again until the 27th of October. So we're getting some daylight again, and that'll be good news for a lot of people that sadly don't feel very good when it's a longer nighttime hours than daytime hours. So there we go. Just keep looking after yourselves. And before
we go, can you tell John in the chat that isn't even funny?
Ian's not greatest fan. But no, the comments that are coming in are fantastic. I appreciate that you guys are watching. You're enjoying this. I echo what Worko's saying. I'm a big advocate of mental health. I've got the Andy's Man Club wristband on. I think it's vital that you talk to people. And this, for me, this Sunday evening with Ian, Worko, Lee, Jake, Jonathan, any of the other guests that come on, it does make a difference, because football is just a game. It's a very important game. It impacts my mood. It determines my mood most often, most weekends. And being a Rovers fan, you can imagine what mood I've been in for the last 5 years. So I'm surprised if you're still with me. credit to her. But I think this just makes everything a little easier. We call it a therapy session. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek, but I think there's probably a bit of truth to those words, and we hope that our chat and you guys being able to get involved in the chat helps in any way. Our DMs are always open. We can't guarantee that we'll get in touch straight away. We do get quite a lot of messages, but we will endeavour to chat to everybody that we can, irrespective of your allegiances. We are all football fans. It doesn't matter if you support Rotherham, Sheffield Wednesday, Donny, Barnsley, or any club of the 72. We're all football fans, and we want this to be a safe space and people to enjoy it. And like Wirko says, it's escapism, but we're all in it together. So we hope you've enjoyed episode 63. We will be back next Sunday for episode 64. Wirko may be joining us. Jake may be back. Lee may be back. You'll have to turn up to see who is on the panel.
What a teaser.
Week. There you go. I'll leave that dangling.
What a promo.
Please stick a big thumbs up on it for us. Comments in the section down below. If you're watching it through the week, get the comments in as well. And if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to everybody. And thanks for watching. We will see you next week in episode 64.